Welcome to Turkistan TV News. Global tensions grow as Chinese rocket scientist defects to the West. Express News. M16 played a role helping a senior Chinese scientist defect to the West, intelligence sources revealed last night. His escape from Beijing has allowed Britain and the United States accelerate defense programs against the use of hypersonic missiles. It could also take China 2 years to tweak its systems and render this intelligence ineffective, source said. Described as a rocket technician, the Chinese national was attached to the state-owned Aviation Industry Corp of China, where he helped develop a mid-range hypersonic boost glide vehicle, capable of carrying DF-17 missiles to the range of up to 2,000 miles. Sources say the scientist, in his 30s, is connected with a more recent hypersonic missile delivery system that can circle the globe before descending from space and use heat-seeking technology to strike any target on Earth. Despite his apparent success, however, it was resentment at having been passed over for promotion, rather than political dissent towards his masters in Beijing, which persuaded him to take contact with the British intelligence asset in Hong Kong at the end of September last year. During that first tentative approach, he told the middleman he possessed detailed information about the hypersonic glide vehicle. Knowing he faced a firing squad if discovered, he demanded asylum for himself and his wife and the child. A call was made to Vauxhall Cross, the London headquarters of the Secret Intelligence Service, more commonly known as M16, and a three-person team comprising 2 intelligence officers and a technical specialist were ready to deploy to Hong Kong. The CIA was also informed. Cautious that the scientists could be a Beijing plant, a cat-and-mouse game developed over the next few days, in which the scientists' credentials were copper-bottomed. It was during this process that the technician, an avid fan of cricket who is believed to have once studied in England, began to reveal select details about China's latest hypersonic development. Eventually, a plan was hatched in which he and his family would travel to a former British colony, using a specially developed route. Once there, the scientist was spirited to a source location, where he was debriefed by 2 men and a woman, which made up the M16 team. While most of the technical information offered by the scientist was carried in his head, he was also able to smuggle out technical data. The M16 team were joined by the 2-man team from CIA. A day was given over for a lengthy debriefing before arrangements were made to fly to a more secure location, the United States Air Base in Germany, then on to America via the UK. Hypersonic weapons travel faster than 5 Mach, and because of their boost glide delivery vehicles can follow less predictable trajectories than traditional ballistic missiles, interception is very difficult. The United States is still behind both Russia and China, which launched more ballistic missiles for testing and training than the rest of the world combined in 2019, according to the 2020 U.S. Department of Defense report. Earlier this month, Chief of Defense Staff Admiral Sir Tony Redican confirmed that Britain had also joined the hypersonic race. Speaking about the defection, an intelligence source said last night, he was extremely cooperative. This is an intelligent man, a man who keenly follows cricket, but prefers Jack Daniels to lager, a man who has played a key role in development of hypersonic weapons in China, and a man who felt aggrieved by the way he had been treated. The source added, the fact we are in possession of the certain details about the operational capability of this hypersonic glide missile puts us in a position we didn't expect to be in at this time. It will probably buy us 2 years. We estimate it will take China 2 years to be able to make change in its program sufficiently substantial as to render this intelligence ineffective. In this sphere, 2 years is a very long time. The Foreign Office said it did not comment on intelligence issues. Welcome to Turkistan TV News. International Alliance of MPs calls for blacklisting of Chinese firms over Uyghur atrocities. Any News, London, United Kingdom, January 27. An international cross-party network of legislators across the European Union, the United Kingdom, India, Australia, and Canada have called on their governments to block investors from bankrolling firms perpetrating forced labor abuses in East Turkestan, so-called China's Xinjiang province. This comes after reports emerged that HSBC has held shares in a subsidiary of the Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps, which was hit by U.S. Treasury Department sanctions in 2020. The Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China said that 25 legislators, representing over 10 countries, urged their governments to draw up a blacklist of entities identified as perpetrating atrocities in East Turkestan, with firms barred from investing in blacklisted entities. The calls were made in a series of separate letters, attached and coordinated by IPAC, Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, and sent last week. Prominent signatories include Reinhard Bütikofer, chair of the European Parliament's China delegation. Prominent signatories include Reinhard Bütikofer, chair of the European Parliament's China delegation. Sir Lane Duncan-Smith, former leader of UK Conservative Party. Australia Labour Senator Kimberley Kitching. And Indian Member of Parliament Sujit Kumar. The letters were addressed to the legislators' representative finance ministers, including European Commissioner Maris McGuinness and UK Chancellor Rishi Sunak. The calls come after it was revealed that HSBC had purchased £2.2 million of shares in Xinjiang Tianye, a plastic manufacturer owned by XPCC. IPAC said in a press release. The XPCC, a Chinese state-operated paramilitary conglomerate, facilitates the East Turkestan coercive labor transfer programs and operates many of the region's so-called vocational training centers, where experts believe at least 1 million Uyghurs have been detained and subjected to abuse including forced labor, torture, and sexual abuse, the IPAC release said. HSBC has previously come under fire for members of the IPAC for its role in freezing the assets of the former Hong Kong opposition legislator Tat Hui in December 2020. The events led to HSBC being called before the United Kingdom's Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, where it was accused of abetting a Hong Kong government's crackdown on the city's pro-democracy movement. Reinhard Bütikofer, German Green Model European Parliament and co-chair of IPAC said, "We can't ignore the role of big banks play in financing abuses taking place in East Turkestan. If they're knowingly investing in the firms perpetrating forced labor and other human rights abuses, then it's right that they should be held accountable. We are calling on the commissions to urgently bring forward measures, not to only prevent goods made with forced labor from entering our markets, but also prevent our banks from investing in them." Shua McDonough, United Kingdom Labour Member of the Parliament and member of the Treasury Select Committee, said, HSBC's investment in East Turkestan Tianye demonstrated deep ties between international finance in East Turkestan. It's completely unacceptable that banks like HSBC, which are headquartered and registered in the United Kingdom, should invest in groups perpetrating industrial-scale human rights abuse against Uyghurs. It's completely unacceptable that banks like HSBC, which are headquartered and registered in the United Kingdom, should invest in groups perpetrating industrial-scale human rights abuse against Uyghurs. McDonough added that the United Kingdom government must act to stop rich firms from bankrolling modern slavery in East Turkestan and elsewhere. Iltaber from East Turkestan TV News reported.